nobody ever said destiny was going to be easy. But would it be worth anything if it was? Welcome back, mere mortalites, to another edition of the Mere Mortals book reviews. Juan here once again to do a book review. Now today's book review will look and sound slightly different to what it's been in the past, but we'll see how it rolls. In essence, I actually want to be putting together the key reasons why you might find joy in reading the book that I'm going to be talking about today, and then some ways that it might irk you, as well as a slight summary, but we'll go as we go. Now, today's book is Stillness Is Destiny by Ryan Holiday. If you've been hearing me at least talk about a great majority of Ryan Holiday's books, I enjoy the background of sort of where it comes from, and we'll talk about that as well. But you can go and also check out the other book reviews that I've done, both of the original book series from Ryan Holiday, as well as this new series of the Stoic Virtues series, which we've documented and had a conversation around courage as well, and obviously discipline here. Now, this particular book itself, published in 2022, Ryan mentions in the book as well that it took him approximately 2 years to create. And so, a lot of discipline to put together a book, and this one in particular obviously took a long time. And as I mentioned, it's the second in a series of 4 around the Stoic Virtue series. So that's previously courage has been done, and also wisdom and justice are planned in the future by Ryan as well. Now, it's split up in the usual Ryan style. So if I actually bring up the original chapters here, as he does in all of his previous ones, there's 3 main parts. Here we've got the exterior or the body, 2, the inner domain or the temperament, and part 3, the magisterial, the soul. And he always ties this up with an afterword around what to read next, but also some of the thoughts around he himself, Ryan, putting together this book through personal experience, which I always really find quite enjoyable. So to the 4 topics of why you will find joy in this book, and I've got them written just in front of me as well. So 1, the dichotomy of examples. One of the things that I do enjoy that Ryan really manages to play around out is really a great balance across his books, right? Of the level of the detail of the known and the lesser known individuals. But so to give you an example, there's quite a few instances here where he talks about the Queen of England, and puts through quite a lot of details. But he also manages to pull some examples that are probably not as prevalent or not as known in day-to-day life. Now, that might just be what I know about historical details, and maybe if you quite have expansive knowledge, maybe it just makes sense, or yes, everyone should know about this. But at least for me, I go, yeah, the dichotomy and the difference between examples is quite good, even to the point of there might be an example or a chapter which talks about something, and you'll look at it in the sense of, oh wow, this detail, I can see how it goes towards a particular extreme. And then the next chapter will come along and almost help you challenge that view and go, oh, okay, cool. No, I can see that this is a dichotomy. It kind of sits somewhere in the middle of all of this. So for me, it's a magical symphony of dichotomy, this piece of writing from Ryan Holiday. 2, the conquering our bodies before they conquer us. Now, any book that talks about body and fitness and health, you've already won me over. Fantastic. So if you're like that, awesome, you'll like it. But that first main section in the book, the exterior, really provides fantastic examples, really principally that of Lou Gehrig. So he was a baseballer. Again, I have no idea who this is. I'm not, American fan, nor am I a baseball fan. But it sort of talked about the superb lasting power of Lou Gehrig. But he also sort of walked through other high quality chapters on the topic. So this is not really, practical examples here for sets and reps, but the mentality to ensure that we conquer our bodies. So through the description sort of Lou, description of others throughout, it's for myself personally, there is not a lot of joy anymore in reading something specifically sets and reps. I guess because I know in the expansiveness, just the level of minutia that you could look into, and it's very specific to the individual, but the broad look that this book does around bodies and conquering us and the mental aspect behind it, wonderful. Really, really find that joyful, and I think you'll find that from it as well. 3rd, and I really like this particular saying, and I keep forgetting it for whatever reason. I know that it's asked for the T, but it is tolerant with others, strict with yourself. So this particular topic, there's a specific chapter on it, but it also is shared through the Discipline is Destiny book as well. And so there's the three main sections we talked about, book here. So there's body, temperance, and soul. And there's really a strong thread of being tolerant with others, but strict on yourself. So it was really a clear and a disciplined way. So one of the specific examples in the magisterial section, it's sort of, it's in there if you want to look at it, and I found real joy in reading that. But the concept of being, yes, we should be tolerant with others, and that discipline, strict with yourself, do the things that are right within yourself, and being okay to let those things go for others. For me personally, that is a challenge, and I guess that's why it sort of shown to me, and I took a big piece of the learnings around this book for me, and so I equally found the joy, because finding the joy in something that you learn is actually quite awesome. And the fourth one, and honestly the biggest one that's my takeaway and the joyfulness around this book, is the deed part, or the action. Now, once again, it's a really key noted part about it, leave at the very end of the, not the magisterial, but the soul. And I'll just look through, actually it is the magisterial in the soul. Right, so there's not a specific chapter named deed action, but there are a couple of chapters, I guess, that amalgamate this particular idea, and he does call that in one specific chapter. But he goes towards the end, towards the magisterial of the soul. And there's a few chapters here at the end around unchanged by success. Be best, how to make an exit, turn the other cheek. And throughout it, and the examples that always get called out is simply theorizing and reading about something is good, right? It's fine. It's better than nothing. But the actual act of acting, of proceeding with the deed, that's the magic piece. So in the afterword, actually, Ryan helps us share a very personal example of those issues he stumbled upon in writing the book. So, it's a clear view of, hey, this book here of Discipline is Destiny, for Ryan himself to actually go and create the goddamn book, he had to go and put that action. He had to do the deed of creating the book, and the personal example that he shares there is quite powerful to almost make sure you leave it towards the end so you can read it, take it in and go, oh wow, I can see how this book and all of the pieces that make the puzzle to see what it is, go, oh, okay, cool. Even the challenge to the author themselves to go and create this book is obviously apparent, but through deed, through action, it achieves something. And it's a key piece as well that hits closer home for us, for the mere mortals. We firmly believe in the practical philosophy. So philosophy that you can actually go and do something about and act about. And so, we focus upon that on ourselves, and I guess it's the improvement of human flourishing that I would take away. So I think those are the main points why you might find some joy in Discipline is Destiny from Ryan Holiday. You'll also find all the juicy goodness that he prevails throughout. Lots of examples, little quotes, although the quotes in this particular book, unlike others, are a little bit more reserved. I think he's been pulling back on quotes quite a bit in comparison, which honestly, I kind of like. Now, some of the stuff of why you might not like this book, or maybe go, okay, this irks me, right? There's how I'm calling it. What things might irk you about this book? I only had two pieces to call out. We talked about the examples. There was Lou Gehrig. There's a few others, but it's a small hit here. There's a lot of examples which are American-based or political-based, and that's where he sort of pulls in the ideas. There's a lot of the original American wars. There's a lot in current president. There's quite a bit of information or examples of athletes in the American sphere. And look, Ryan Holiday is American. He lives in Texas. That's a lot of the information that he draws upon. But at least for me personally, it draws slightly some interest away in the sense that, is there other examples across the world that we could be seeing that perhaps fit into the Australian landscape, or, the European, or, even more close to home, a South American? Now, one, I'm sure you can find these informations, and it is easier for him to find that, but be prepared that is something that you'll encounter in a lot of the Ryan Holiday's books, not just in Discipline is Destiny, but in a lot of his books. That's just an example. And then two, again, a small irk, but hey, got to call it out. It's like I said, you can do it. The Queen did it. And this, again, appears in a lot of his books, and there's no difference in Discipline is Destiny. There's really occurrences where, the author will write here, Ryan, is, hey, here's an example of the Queen. She stands up straight. She has all these things in her mind, but she's disciplined. She's able to stand there, to suck it up. You can also do it. And there's truth in that. And obviously there's truth throughout the book as you're reading it through, and you can kind of take away. However, there are some assimilations to this that can be missed, in the sense that and it probably goes a little bit counter to how we are talking about it here in the Mere Mortals, is that sometimes people who are in certain positions, George Washington, the Queen, whoever else you want to insert here, they are at the very extreme sometimes of our civilization as humanity. They might be, really pushing the boundary of human flourishing, or they could be genetically blessed, or they could have come through from a particular family, and they go ahead and do some disciplined deeds, or are able to demonstrate something which we can all take away and, pick up and learn from. But what about, I guess it goes to, hey, sometimes there's some of these examples around, hey, well, you have to stand for 8 hours, and that's what you have to do. That's fantastic. I can see how some people, and sometimes I read it, could be turned away to say, hey, sure, however, what about all the things that, let's go with the Queen. They've got all of the stuff taken care of at home, or they're having cleaners galore, or whatever have you. So there are some extremities to this. They go, okay, well, that doesn't even apply to me at all, because I actually go and have to do my own insert XYZ thing that most general human beings do. And if we have to do that, then how the hell am I going to be able to stay disciplined with this? Now, that's not a hit on the, hey, well, discipline's destiny. Discipline's no good. No, not at all. I think you can find people who will be irked with the examples and the extremities of some of them, or the extremes. Maybe it's because it's in the extremes that you can see it so clearly. I would always like to see, and look, maybe this is just what I'm more leaning towards, is there other examples that can provide the same demonstration of discipline in more mere mortals? For instance, it could be an individual that is doing the day-to-day. It's not, a famous person, it's not a well-known person, but just gets up and does the things which demonstrate all of those disciplined characters. Once again, you could probably have a conversation around whether that would then inspire anyone or be any good reading. So, what do I know? I'm not a writer. Maybe I will be in the future. Who knows? Look, finally, a little bit of summary. Self-control is the key to our greatest ambition and simplest choice. This book will really help you around how to find it, applying it, and reaping the rewards. Look, in truth, I would probably slightly adapt that particular saying, say that, the book will detail the many ways you can apply the self-control, how you can do that. It still leaves no doubt that you, the reader, needs to put in the effort to make it work. You need to do the deed. You need to do the action. I mean, those biggest takeaway from myself is whether you're theorizing it, whether you're reading it, even if someone tells you, it's until you apply it and you're doing something, that's when discipline comes about. Not just reading about discipline, it's the actual doing of discipline that then begets the next action. So look, Mere Mortals, I think there's never been a more true quote than that. You need to act. That is the only way that discipline is destiny. Otherwise, forget it. Thank you very much, folks, for sticking around and listening into this little book review of Discipline is Destiny. I'd love to get your thoughts. What did you think of this particular setup? Whether it's did you want me to go back to a little bit more of that summary, detailed takeaways, or did you find it a little bit more enjoyable where I'm more off the cuff around what are things that I found joyful in it, some of the things that might irk you, to give you a bit of an example? Do you want to know more details specifically? Of course, you can send through a comment, a message, an email, lots of different ways. We ask for support through the value for value model. That's you sending through a boostergram or some sort of streaming Satoshis. But, you can also support us through many other ways with sharing this particular book review with other friends, family, people you care about, people you want to share it, things that you disagree, talk about it, converse about it. It's the only way we're going to improve. For now, Mere Mortalites, I hope that you have enjoyed it. Finally, I will summarize because I did not mention this. I actually gave this book an 8.5 out of 10. Would I recommend it? Absolutely. There is now a growing list for me as a dad of books that I want to provide to my little girl and maybe other people. This book falls absolutely core smack bang in one of those that I'd say, yes, go and read, buy it, have it. And again, kind of similar to a lot of the other Ryan Holiday books, very easy to pick up, find a chapter, reread sometime, which is probably the way that I'm going to operate with it. For now, Mere Mortalites, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you have enjoyed this book review, and wherever you are in the world, I hope you're well. Mere Mortalites, one out.